second.
Oh my God, he looks big.
Ah, look at the muscles though.
Girl, I picked him for the muscles. He's cool. You
He
never know
is.
what you're gonna get from Etsy. Listeners, if you're listening, Angela has had a little friend come into her mailbox.
Yes. Look at his buns even.
Oh,
Yeah.
buns are bunning.
Thank you, Melanie. This abominable snow monster is the perfect inspiration I need. Look at the buns.
I'm obsessed with the buns.
Yeah.
Well,
And the
look, after your devastating loss, I felt like you needed some moral support. You
thank you.
know?
It's true, I did. And now I have support and inspiration.
You know, that's what I was going for. It's not that
Yes.
as easy as you would think to find a hot, muscly, abominable snowman figurine.
It's actually that is true because I went on Pinterest to search for inspiration. There's not many. There's not many.
No, they're mostly kind of like woolly mammoth looking kind of.
Yes. Or like real cutesy, and that's not what I was going for.
No.
So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with this little guy.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
How's your story going? Am I allowed to ask?
I have not touched my story. I haven't.
That's fair. Have you
Yeah.
even slept?
No. Yes, actually I fell asleep pretty early last night because I was
Okay,
like
good.
dead to the world. So I also have edits due for Carnival Fantastico next week, and then so like just like a million things. All the deadlines are coming. I'll be fine though. Like as soon as I'm finished with like this last few trips, or well, just
Yeah.
this next weekend, I'll be ready to go.
Goose, no, now's not the time. It's not your diva moment. Fuck's sake, girl. She's being such a diva this morning. It's ridiculous.
Well, Smokey went upstairs. He heard you talking shit and he said, "That's it. I'm out of here."
I like could not, I kept it together like from actually like bursting out laughing the whole time, but then the juxtaposition of you doing this really like sentimental, heartfelt speech, which is obviously the worst time to start laughing. So of course that's when I'm gonna laugh. And then Smokey's just like he's like a meme. He's just like do do do. You can just see like the dots of Smokey coming and going, like how they do the dot 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 and then they like leave and he just like
Yes.
looks at you like
Yes.
in disdain. Has he not gotten much attention since you've been back?
Like it's so funny because and I was gone 2 days, but I was only gone one night.
Mm.
But like I got a text from Adrian, my son, at some point, maybe even the first day, and he was like, "Smokey's not eating."
Oh,
I
oh,
was like, "What's wrong with him?"
oh, he loves his
So
mama.
yeah, so he's all thrown off, and I'm going again next this weekend coming up, so he's gonna
Oh
have
no.
another hard one, but it's okay. He'll pull through, but
Maybe you
he's
need to get
definitely
him like one of the little wooden Frangela dolls to hold on to when you're gone.
I should. I should get like a pillow and put like my clothes on it or something.
You should. No, you should give him like your sweater or something so he can just have a little cry into it.
I know. I was like telling the like my family like, "What do you guys do to him when I'm gone?" And they're like, "Literally nothing. He's so dramatic." I'm like, he is. I don't know what his deal is. He goes
That
through
makes
it.
sense. This makes sense though, because honestly, like his body language as he kept trekking through was like he's like just checking she's still there. Yes, she is still there, still ignoring me. Okay, I'll do another round. And he just kept coming like every 10 minutes or so and just like kind of sniffing around the couch, like as if he gives a fuck. He's lived in that room his whole life. Why does he need to sniff the couch now? He doesn't. It was just a distraction to like keep him around to just, you know what I mean? He had this whole thing.
Yes. No, he's a hoverer. He's hovering.
Well, Smokey's gonna have to get with the program because his mama is a star.
Yes,
How
yes.
was your It looked like a massive event, this one. I felt like the anxiety. Was it you walking out? That was your mane of hair.
Yes.
And then as it
Yes.
opened and it was like a huge crowd and I was like
Huh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I felt so much anxiety for so many random
mm,
things. Um, like the first, so I got there, or I left here like at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. And so I got there around, I don't know what time, 9 or 10.
yeah.
And, got from the airport to my hotel. Luckily, my hotel wasn't the haunted one because a lot of authors were staying there. However, I almost feel like I would take the ghosts over the hotel I was in
Ooh.
because, and I feel like I'm just becoming such like a weenie traveler, or like becoming so picky. But the hotel was so cool and like so hip
Yeah.
that like they had things that just had no reason or point. And
Like
like
what?
like the room was this small space, and like the sink was really cool, but it was so small.
Mm.
Like they transferred, they highlighted design over practicality. Like there
Uh,
was no iron. Like I was just
oh, okay, okay. I'm learning things about you right now. Okay.
yes.
So the lack of the big sink, how did it trouble you? Like, was there like something you like I was gonna say wash your bangs in the fringe and that was like trouble? Wash your toes.
No. Yeah, wash my toes in there. It was so small that it would like drip onto my feet on
Oh,
the ground.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like, they tried a thing, and it was like not for me. I'm too old for this shit, I guess. Like, you
Okay,
know,
iron. So you're an iron, you iron your clothes religiously.
n- no, not normally. However, I brought a dress specifically, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just iron it there," because I had just
Yeah.
gotten it and I couldn't iron it.
Girl, you can just ask the concierge, the hotel
Well,
concierge.
that's a whole nother thing. I'm not asking anybody for anything. That's too much anxiety for me.
This is the universe testing you to like ask for a damn iron.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead, I wore a whole different outfit.
Did
So
you?
anyway, yes, I did. It's
Oh,
okay. It worked out. It's fine. But then here's the next thing I was anxious about, was because like on my itinerary, it says you need to do this, this, and that to get to the place.
yeah.
Like tell your Lyft driver to go like these two intersections. And so I was typing it in, and the intersections didn't show up. And so I was over there like Google mapping, trying to figure it out. And then I finally just asked somebody. I asked an author.
Well done. See?
Yes. And she was like, "Yeah, just do this. It's not hard." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then I get there and immediately get lost. It's huge. It's this huge, like university. It's so big, it's vast. There's like thousands of people there.
Yeah.
And I'm just, again, I was like trying to find my way. I had to ask somebody again. Finally found my way. so so I was and that night I had planned to go with Para and Courtney K and Gretchen out to dinner. But unfortunately, our friend Jessica Para and Courtney K they're both feeling unwell.
Mm.
And so I was just gonna meet up with Gretchen, but then I just like canceled because I was like, I feel like I'm just gonna be frazzled, and like I'm just gonna go to my hotel.
Yeah.
So and she was like, yeah, totally, no big deal. And I was like, what a big girl of me, like to know my needs,
I'm
you
so
know?
impressed.
However,
Uh-oh.
however, then
Not another random taxi guy telling you his life story.
oh, I had on the way there when my nerves were still frazzled over my outfit choice. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, is this a writer's thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's this event." And he was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to write my memoir." And I was like, "Oh no."
How do
The
you
30
handle
minute
that shit?
drive, dude. I was just like, "Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh." But the 30-minute drive in traffic was just him telling me his life story. And he was like, "Do you think this would be a good memoir?" And I was like, "Yeah, it'd be really great."
Oh my
I
God.
lied.
My soul
Um,
dies a little hearing this conversation. You know, like
yeah,
I know everybody thinks they've got a great book in them. And some people do have a great story that's worth a memoir. But it's like, you know, maybe you could have a diary.
yeah.
Motherfuckers ever think about a diary, you know?
Just start with the diary and go from there. Start with the diary, read it, see if you're entertained.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, like the trend of like when people want to write a book, one of the first things that, and I can't talk. I have India 2008 shelved somewhere. I guess that's like the first stories we feel like the urge to
Yeah.
write down, but like, oh, I get what's one of my big cringes, people like propositioning authors with how can I get my memoir published? There's just so much. Anyway, I guess it's just our burden to bear the longer we do it. Put yourself on a platform. It's just one of those things. And everyone has to start somewhere, you know. There's a soft part of my heart too. But it's also it's a big cringe of mine.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Especially like, especially when you're going to a thing. I mean, obviously he would have no idea. He doesn't know me. So, but I was just like, I was a ball of nerves, like heading towards the thing. And, he was just telling me about his college days and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, sir, I do not care. Just please get me to the
Do
place.
you not have the silent Uber? Did you try look up the silent Uber?
No, but I feel
You need to get on
like
it.
I should.
You
I feel like I
absolutely should. I only book silent Ubers lately because I'm generally only catching an Uber if I'm like going to catch up with a friend or go to a writing thing. And the last fucking thing I want is to use, it's like the time, the hourglass, for me socially. You tip that thing over the minute you leave the house and the sands are starting to run. And they run very fast if the Uber driver starts talking to you.
yes,
You
good
know?
Lord.
Save
Yes,
your sands of time and book a silent Uber for the love of all peace.
I really should. But some of them are really fun. Like
I
eh,
know.
so sometimes you hit a jackpot like oh my God, there's so much going on in downtown LA.
Really?
Dude, it's a wild ass world. So my other Uber driver, Lyft driver, we were coming down. He's a Mexican guy.
Yeah.
And so obviously we just get along. But like we were coming into like where my hotel was. And on one side, it was like these like a churchy cult, like preaching the gospel, but like very cultish things they were saying.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then on the other side was a film crew like filming a TV show. And then and then on the and then a like a robot like little thing like that delivers food cross the road. And so it was like so much happening. And my driver was like, well, which side do you want to join? And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I said, just get me to my hotel, please. But it was just like, it's chaos down there. It's
That's
chaos.
so fucking glorious and chaotic. Like you're just glad you're in the taxi at that point.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
love watching the shit go down though out my window of the car. Like that picture you painted was so nom nom nom. Like I can just see it playing out. There's like a trash fire over there and like,
yes.
people in winged haloed costumes proselytizing or whatever it's called.
Yes. It's no, that's exactly what was happening. There was
And
so
then the
much happening.
robot, boop, boop. Was it one of the ones with legs? Boop, boop.
No, it was like this cute cart thing that just drove and it had eyes and everything and it was like really cute. And I guess it delivers food around town or something. It was like
Oh,
adorable. And it was just
really are
cruising.
in dystopia, aren't we?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, it was like the lows, the highs,
Yeah.
all the in between. I was like, wow, I'm living right now. I am living. But yeah. But oh, so after I did a signing
Yeah.
that first day
Mm.
with Katie Robert, which she's just this huge author
Yeah.
and the nicest person, super chill, like awesome. And And I was getting ready to go back to
Yeah.
my hotel and just be like, you know what, I have a long day tomorrow. I'm gonna chill. But then my friend Amelie Howard, who we need to get on the show, you would love Amelie Howard. She's
Yeah.
full of so much energy. She's just like a firecracker. Um, so she was like, "Are you doing anything right now tonight?" And I was supposed to go to this cocktail party
Yeah.
put on by Universal or Universal Studio Group. So my film and TV agent works for the with them. Yes, I'm so bougie. I'm so
Hey.
bougie. So bougie.
I fucking love that sentence for you right now. My supposed to go to Universal. Wait, say it again. It was glorious.
Yeah, so there was this cocktail hour at Universal Studio Group. But so like we got these invitations and they were kind of like by invite only, like don't, it's an author event. And so like I think anybody that got invited like wasn't telling everybody,
Ooh.
like, oh, I'm going to this thing because we didn't know who was invited or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
So Amelie asked, like, oh, are you going anywhere? And I was like, well, I'm supposed to go to this event, but I think I'm just gonna bail. Like, I don't want to go. Like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna be awkward. I don't know who's going. And she was like, oh wait, I think I'm going to that. Like, let's go together. And I was like, oh shit. I guess like you can't say no to Amelie Howard. So I was like, okay, fine. She's like, I'm leaving now. You're coming. And I was like, oh
Oh,
God, here we go. But we love an extroverted friend that's forcing
we
you to do
love
things.
an extroverted friend because they buffer. Like they make the sands in the hourglass run slow. And
Yes.
then you can stretch for longer.
Yes.
Because you can
Yes.
kind of just melt beside them and they handle the full front of the of everything.
Yes. That's what we love. And so
We
that's what
love.
she was for me. We came in, we
Hey.
knew people, she was introducing, and I was just like,
Uh-huh.
hey. But then I ended up like knowing other authors, and so it was like actually it turned out to be a really fun event because their drinks were free.
Oh yeah,
And
they were.
so I
Mm.
had my little martinis, and then I was feeling fine, and they're like, "Let's go out to dinner."
Glorious.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, well, sure. Yeah. Now I'm hit. Like I'm loose. I'm like martinis, they're flowing. So I like hop in the lift with them. No big deal. Like, woo, guys, we're going. And then we ended up meeting and having dinner with a bunch of other really amazing authors. Allie Hazelwood was there.
Yeah.
Um, just like really great authors.
Yeah.
And and then I went back to my hotel
And had your
and
rest.
I slept so good because of those martinis.
Amazing. Sometimes it just hits, right?
It hit so good. I was like, yes, this is what I needed. I would have never done this on my own had someone not forced me out um, in my stupid hotel room with the freaking small ass sink. But anyway,
I love that so much though. And like those are the moments, I think like sometimes I've like doubted my ability to do that stuff or whatever, because sometimes you feel the need to shut it down when it feels like,
yes.
but the truth is when the moment comes, that's when you realize what you've been conserving your energy for. Because there's like, I'm sure that took energy as well, but it also gave you back energy from the sounds of it. And so it becomes fun and manageable and like you're exhausted and you slept, but it wasn't like a high anxiety burnout like vibe. It was just like sometimes that exhaustion can be pure joy or like just
Hmm.
like you're so full of experience and stuff you just were like I'm done. and
Yes.
and those are the moments that I think that like you find the extra in the tank for.
Yes. And honestly, like I feel like I've grown a lot as a
You
introverted
have.
human, like because so often normally I would have just been like, no, I'm just gonna go home, back to the hotel and hang. And I still will do that, I'm sure. But I said yes and I did it. And I was very like, you did it, girl. Like,
Yeah, but look
you
what
know,
I'm so proud of you, but you're like following the good energy and that's it. Your first thing you opened with was how cool this friend was and how good their energy was. So like I'm sure if it was someone who like latched on and they were like kind of draining, you might decide to go back to your hotel.
That's true. Yeah. I'm like, I gotta go. It's been a long day.
Yeah, just vibing the energy out and like it's you have grown. Like I see you shining at these events. Like
Thank you. Yeah,
what was
it's
like the best part?
um so the next day was like the main day.
Mm.
And it was really cool because like they like it's the LA Festival of Books, LA Times Festival of Books. They like hook authors up. So the green room, like I thought it was just like, some room that you're just sitting in, like a blank white room. No, you go in and there's like catering, there's food everywhere, there's like places to sit, there's celebrities walking in the room.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Oh my God. Can you name drop a celebrity you saw that surprised you?
Well, yeah. Um, Chelsea Handler, who's like a comedian, I don't know his name, Wilmer Valdemar. I don't know. I'm terrible with
All right, we won't try. You saw people you recognized from the shiny screens. We get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm shit with names too, eh? Like I can't even remember like the names of like my favorite like lead singers in bands and stuff, so it's okay.
No, it's true.
That
But
sounds very lush.
my biggest one that I saw was in oh shoot, Harry. Oh my gosh. Anyway, he was from Glee. I took a picture with him.
Oh, Glee.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
and Shadowhunters, and that's where I like. He was my favorite in Shadowhunters.
Aw.
Uh, Magnus. He was Magnus in Shadowhunters. Anyway, I took a picture with him, so check out my Instagram. Nicest human being.
Why were the celebrities at the book event? Are they like
Because
they've done book adaptations?
they've written their own book, their memoirs,
Gotcha. Oh,
lots of memoirs. Yes.
not
But that wasn't my favorite.
anti-memoir. There's this whole thing about memoirs, like, and I just can't help but cackle at it sometimes. Some memoirs
I
are
know.
amazing.
Yeah. Some really are. Yes, but no, that wasn't my favorite moment. My favorite moment, okay, so it was cool because you're supposed to go to the green room so they know for panelists, they know that you're there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they because they can't find you in this huge ass place.
Mm.
So they called us up and it was me and these like humongous authors, like mega best-selling authors. And we get in a golf cart and we like
Wait, I just need one. Morica.
yeah, yeah.
It's just on such a bigger scale there. It's quite dazzling too. There's no golf carts at Australian book events.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah,
You've got to allow me one Morica here and there.
yeah. Insert an eagle roar.
I
Yes.
fucking love it
Um,
though. I live for this image.
dude, right? So like me, it's Callie Hart who wrote Quicksilver,
Oh
Katie
yeah.
Robert, and Rebecca Thorne. And we're getting in a golf cart and we're jamming through the thing. And like we show up to the place that we talked about, the where all those people were.
Yeah.
And we do the event. It goes off. It was really great. Everybody was so like happy to be there and enthused and
Um,
great time. But my favorite part, honestly, was after we went to the signing that takes place after the event. And I honestly went into it like in my mind, I was like, I'm just gonna be sitting here like twiddling my thumbs while everybody lines up for these big authors. And I was like totally fine with just being like kind of just BSing with people, like as they're waiting in line to get Callie Hart's signature. But my line at first I didn't see many people, but then but then it kept growing and growing and I ended up like having to have thank you for those hearts. Thank you for those hearts, Melanie. I ended up Katie Robert her publicist had to like get in charge of my line and like tell like cut me off and be like, you have only 7 minutes to get through all of these people. Like you got to speed it up, girl. And I was like, okay. That was my
Line cut
favorite.
off.
Yeah, that to me it was like such a nice, pleasant surprise because I went in there thinking like I'm literally just gonna be sitting here, looking cute, but just sitting here. And it ended up being really, really great. And got to meet a lot of new readers and then friends and readers that have loved my books. So it was like a really awesome, beautiful moment where I was like, wait a second, okay, like people are here. Thank you. So that was like my highlight besides the golf cart for
I
sure.
fucking love that, my friend. It's so like well deserved. It's like honestly, it just feels right at this moment. And I think like, yeah, it's like a bit of whiplash, right? Because you've also been in the rooms where there's like, two people show up. And so I
Yeah.
think like you're mentally preparing yourself always like it could be this, it could be this. And I'm so glad that you found like your event, like where the people were there and they like showed up for you in the way that you fucking deserve. Because you've been grinding and you are our queen and let them be like, no, we can't take any more signings for Angela Montoya. That's the next step. That's fucking
Yes.
glorious, iconic, amazing, magical Parmesan Queen.
Oh, you I don't think you've used that one for a while.
The Parmesan Queen.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of fell off, didn't it? I could always print another t-shirt. Actually, we're due for a new t-shirt, maybe with our new logo.
I think you have to have the emu on the I always wonder like what do guests think when they look behind
Oh,
you, you
that's
know?
true. What do they see if they've never seen emu before?
Yeah, like I'm trying like looking here, I'm like, what is this black like scary ass bird blob
I
thing
guess
behind
because there's like random shit there. They're just like, I guess it's just random shit.
you? Yeah.
Well, I'm
Well,
so
so
proud of you and like so delighted that it was like kind of was giving the celebrity vibes. I'm just saying. And once
yes.
again, as per usual, you're like, oh, there was all these big authors, but I think you need to start adjusting your mind around to realize that like people are showing up for you and you're like you are not an emerging author anymore. You're an established author and you're a baddie and you deserve a golf cart.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, you know what though? Writing's always gonna keep you humble because I'm sure there'll still be events where it's like less, and you'll be like, where the fuck is my golf cart? You know?
From now on, like anywhere, any event I'm going to, I'm like, where is my golf cart? Like,
Where's my green
pass.
room?
Yeah.
What was the
No,
food like in the green room?
dude, the LA Times, like they do not play.
That's what I'm thinking. Was it
Yeah,
like
they
a
don't
very
play.
like entourage moment? Like you go in and it's like a full like 5-star feast.
Yes, like
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
full on. Like the breakfast looked really good. The lunch, I think towards the afternoon they start serving drinks, like cocktails. I was
well, thank
look,
fuck, because maybe they've just realized that authors get so caught up in the event they don't fucking eat, and they're like, we can't have our authors hashtag Angela fainting on event because they're not eating. So they're like, we've got to have food.
yeah. Well, it's funny because I ran into somebody that had gone to the Steamy Lit book con, and she was like, "Oh, I went to see you that second day, but I think you left early." And I was like, "Oh, that was the day I almost fainted." Yeah, yeah, you're right. So here we are.
It's amazing
Um,
what food can do.
it is green rooms for everyone, please. What have you been up to, Mel?
I've been reading about spicy anthologies, so yeah, I'm excited. Like it's definitely like daunting for both of us. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm mostly excited. Like the pieces have been so fun and so like varied as well in how they feel and like the themes and shit. So yeah, I'm really just like proud and like it's been kind of like a I know humbling sounds like such a wanky word sometimes, but it's
No.
a humbling experience, like reading work that's been submitted and just being like, yeah, it feels fun to be able to like give people an opportunity where we can like showcase their work. Um, and yeah, just especially with some of our friends and stuff, long time listeners of the pod and whatever, it's like, yeah, it's just like, wow, look at them go, I don't know, I feel like a proud mama or something, so I'm excited to like get it rolling. And yeah, uh, that's pretty much the focus at the moment.
Yes, honestly, I felt the same way. So, like, it's so freaking fun, especially like friends that we've known over the years or like have built relationships either through the podcast or just being online. And 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 I feel like haven't read any of their work before.
Yeah.
And so getting to read, and for some of them I think it's their first maybe short stories. And it's just like a really, like you said, proud mama moment
Yeah.
of
And they're
getting to see
good.
stories shine, and they're so good, and like it's so awesome. It's so impressive.
I'm so fucking impressed and just like, yeah, it's taken me by surprise in the best way. And yeah, I think it could be, we'll see how this one goes, but I imagine, I dare say we shall have other ideas next Christmas potentially if things go well with this one. I don't know what will be next, but something, not jingle
Yeah.
bells, obviously, but
Yeah. The
something.
sky's the limit. The
The
sky's the
sky is the
limit.
limit. Do we want to read Jackie's bio so we don't get distracted?
Yes. Let me read the updated one from the email. Okay.
Devo, I didn't send you the podcast stickers for your mega event, dang it. They're sitting right here beside me, judging me. Like, you lazy whore, why didn't you go? Why didn't you get to the
It's
post office? And there's a lot of
okay.
us. There's a lot of us to judge me.
It's okay. More events to come. More events to come. I'm
Yes.
sure you'll be going to some fun events in the future, doing some big things coming.
It won't be golf carts, but
Be riding on kangaroos.
right, yes, in Australia we do. We ride on kangaroos to our events with the
That's what I
crowns of koalas holding hands. You
I
know?
figured. Yeah, no. Or giant spiders, probably.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'll read the bio. Jackie Morera is a Cuban American author of books for young at heart readers. Born and raised in Miami, Jackie now lives with her family in Central Florida. She's a wife of 10 plus years, a mom to the most marvelous kid, and is never far from her animal familiar, currently a floppy black lab named Tanner. Outside of writing, Jackie enjoys talking to the bees, caterpillars, and butterflies that visit her pollinator garden, savoring pastelitos, and cozying up for a good nap. Jackie is an active member of Las Musas and a 2025 PB Rising Stars mentor. Jackie is the author of Together We Remember, illustrated by Violeta Encarnación, Abuelo's Flower Shop, illustrated by Deise Lino, and more.
An absolute sweetheart, and we love chatting with her. So I'm sure you all will too, and all her amazing gems she had to say.
Yeah, no, I love Jackie. I love that she is a friend of the show. It makes it all the more sweeter when we have
It really does.
buddies on.
It really does. Cloaca Pride.
Fair enough.
Hi!
Hi. Oh my gosh, my favorite parasocial relationship. I'm so happy to see you too.
We're so happy to see you.
Did you just see hearts coming out of your face, Melanie?
Did it work again?
Yeah.
Oh,
When I do heart hands, it makes a heart. I'm here for
very
that.
odd. Interesting.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
Doesn't work for me.
No.
Just you, Melanie.
What can I
She's got
say?
that magic. Something about her, just a razzle dazzle. Well, welcome. This is so fun to have you on. Your book, the art, the cover, gorgeous, perfection, obsessed. But we'll get into it. We'll get into our obsession with you and your book a little bit later on in the show. But first, let's do our favorite question, which is our random facts, because I'm really curious. What is the strangest thing you own?
Okay, well, first, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you both. I love the pod. I listen all the time. And thank you for the compliments on the book because Violeta did an incredible job. Um, I am probably like the most basic person either of you will ever meet. So I don't know that I have like strange things. I mean, I have like the usual strange things. Like I have my baby teeth, which is like a common thing people hang on to, like that kind of stuff. In terms of like, I was trying to think about it. I have a lot of like sentimental things. I'm a very sentimental person. But I picked something that just like brings me a lot of joy. It's something that my best friend makes. So she is a huge creative inspiration for me. She does like, she started in cosplay, now she makes like crafts and props and all of these things. So she makes these really beautiful dragon masks, handmade, hand painted. I don't know if you could really see it. And so you can wear these to like Renaissance festivals and all sorts of stuff. Her name is Sam, and she works, her company is called Dova Design. And so she makes these beautiful props and costumes. And I just have this in my room and I stare at it and I love it. And it just makes me so happy. And so it isn't strange, but it brings me a lot of unique joy, I guess.
It's stunning. Can I ask you about the color choice of the dragon mask in particular? Like, was it specific for you? Because if honestly, that color choice feels right for you. I don't know
Thank
why,
you.
but it
Yeah,
does.
so it is custom. So she does make like her own like color variations, and I was kind of like I want it to look like purpley fire flame. So like she has the like purple, red into purple with the gold tips and then a little bit of like the burnt edges. So yeah, it was a choice. I'm glad that you like it.
I'm obsessed with that. I feel like we
It's
all need a
incredible.
dragon mask.
Right? Yeah, she does like wolf masks too, all sorts of stuff. Like seeing her pursue her creative passions was a huge inspiration for me to pursue mine. So it's cool to just have that in my house.
Oh my
Mm,
gosh. I
I
love
love
it. Does
that.
she do emu masks? Emu masks?
Ooh,
Melanie's got one behind her. I don't know if your
is
friend
that
can.
what that is?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's from the era when I danced like a very sexy emu to promote Angela's book, A Cruel Thirst.
Oh, okay. No, so I do remember that.
She was serving thirsty emu, real nice.
Love it.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's hard to forget. Those videos, they still play in my mind nightly, actually. Nightly.
Well, our next question to get to know you is what is something you think about way too often?
I I don't think my brain slows down to think about any one thing way too often. I'm just thinking about all the things all the time, always. So there's like the, minuscule tasks that I have to do. There's the millions of stories that are popping up that I don't have the time to focus on, or like making sure I've done stuff for my son and my home, and the random conversation from 10 years ago that I can't stop thinking about, or a conversation that I know I have to do in the future, like a social interaction in the future, just like all these things in my brain all the time. So it's just the internal narrator going on forever is what I'm always thinking about, I guess.
Future brain like Jabba is one that doesn't get much airtime. I really love that you brought that one up. I do that a lot, like try to plan, like I think it's probably a trauma thing. I try to like plan like how the conversation might go and
Yeah.
be ready for any possible outcome. I'm trying not to do it, but it's there, right? It's like that chatter
Yeah.
of like, and what if they say this? Okay, well then I'll be ready. Or what if like they wear this? Okay, well then I'll have this. It's just the bane of our existence.
It's 100% like for me a social anxiety thing. I'm like, okay, I know I have this other thing. Let me just think about it. Let me just dedicate thought and mental energy to this, which is not helpful and not something that's necessary, but it just is. It's how my brain works, I guess.
Social
Yeah.
anxiety hugs.
Yep.
Yeah. But honestly, it feels like I that was probably one of the most like an answer that we've had that I felt the most seen in because the brain is like constantly going. She's
Nonstop.
she's moving. So that feels so real and so honest. Yeah. I recognize that. I feel it here. It's me. And the
Listen,
social anxiety is real as well. Because you really do like everything, every time I leave the house, your brain's, going on like, okay, what if I bump into this person? It's just like your brain is just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, and then it takes a second too to like adjust to an actual responsibility or interaction or task. Like you have to hop out of brain mode into human mode, and that's a difficult transition sometimes too.
Mm. I feel this conversation in my core.
True. It is true. And it's for me, like if one thing goes wrong, it throws me all the way off. And things always go wrong. So I'm just always thrown off, just constantly.
I plan for a million scenarios, but not this one.
That's so true. I bet that's why it throws us off because we spend so long planning for every scenario.
Yeah.
And then the one that we didn't plan for is like, gotcha, bitch. You're like, wait, but I didn't pack extra underwear for this situation or whatever it is.
That's it right there. That's freaking it. So why even worry? Because at the end of the day, like
Exactly.
that little thing is just going to come anyways and just wreak havoc on your ass. Yes.
That's
Why
it.
worry?
I'm trying so hard to not like ruminate like that, but habits. But
Yes.
back to writing, did you always want to be a writer?
Yeah, I mean, for as long as I can remember, that was the passion that, when I was little, my parents recognized my love for reading and writing. And so my dad would make these little, like, he would just take like printer paper and fold it into little 4x4 books. And I would write stories and he would draw the pictures because I still then couldn't draw and now can't draw. And so, they would inspire that creativity in me. I always really loved it. In terms of when I thought about it being like a realistic job, I had that goal, that passion in mind until at some point when I was probably like late elementary school, like fourth or fifth grade, had a conversation with an adult in my life who will remain nameless, who was like, "Oh, but no, you can't actually do that. That can't be your job. What are you going to actually do for your job?" And so then unfortunately it shifted into hobby mode for the next, 2 decades where it was just the thing that I did to bring me joy in the background, never considered pursuing it as a role or a job or a lifestyle or a career until a couple of years ago. But it was always there, that kernel of this is the thing that makes me the happiest. This is what I want to do. So I'm happy that I found my way back to it.
Well, boo to that person for
Right?
one. Yay to your dad. Yay to your dad.
Yeah. Well, isn't it funny how you can have all of the support and love and like the environment that nurtures it, but then you have that one voice that becomes the voice in your head. And so then that was the narrative that I just like held on to for the next several years of, oh, this is the side hobby silly thing that I do, not the actual thing. And those people aren't the most important people, but they're still a voice that kind of sticks to you a little bit. So
I feel like they mean well, but it's so sad.
right.
Like at that age, that's the age you're meant to like fuck around and find out, right? Like that's because I also had someone say, because I was going to do a Bachelor of Arts when I graduated, because she didn't get the enter score for marine biology, but another story. And yeah, they were like, but what are you going to do with arts? What, you're not going to have anything when you're done with that. So you should do a real job like teaching. So I did a whole teaching like I had got the degree to be a teacher and I was like, I hate this. But it's like, that's the years you should have been like for any young ones listening, fuck around and find out, do a few different courses, try a bunch of different jobs. Like I'm very, I love these conversations because like imagine we had the other voices being like, here's a real way to like go towards that dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or just, these are the side entrances that will satisfy the financial side and the creative side, and you can have it all. You can do all the things. There doesn't have to be a yes or no.
Yes. I love that. Come on, people, get with it over here. Somebody needs to work on this. Okay, so what point did it become not so much of a hobby, but like here we are publishing books? Can you tell us like a little bit about your publishing journey?
Yeah. Okay. So setting the stage, I was dying a slow death working in human resources, and I would write like on my lunch breaks, and then enter parenthood a couple of months before the pandemic, and then enter the pandemic and enter being isolated and surrounded by picture books. Having this creative block because I write novels as well. So I was writing at the time a young adult novel. Having this really bad creative block and saying, I need to just try something new and surrounded by this other form of art and creativity. At the same time, there was protests happening in Cuba. So this was 2021. And I just kind of blurted out a story inspired by, being the child of immigrants, having family, and generations of this experience in Cuba and what was happening there, in a picture book format. And I wrote the story, and I had no idea about publishing or like what any of that looked like. But I went on the internet and I researched, and I found like PitMad at the time and different Twitter events and all of these entrances into getting to know publishing. And that story was not a story that became anything, but it was kind of like I said yes to myself in this other format of writing, and then like the dam broke and all the other stories came, all of the opportunity came. In terms of my first book, Abuelo's Flower Shop, that was a PitMad pitch that I pitched it, and the editor acquired it from there. And then my second story was Together We Remember was a typical submission process that was acquired through submission. But it was like that moment of being so overwhelmed, so isolated, probably like creatively deprived as well too. And just saying yes to myself to allow myself to try it. And then everything kind of fell into place from there. So it was a little untraditional in terms of like the Twitter approach and the pitching online approach, that led to this really wonderful experience. It's been great.
That's so cool. It's like the art and beauty of saying yes to yourself is
Mhm.
something so powerful. And I love what you said. And then like the dam broke.
Right.
It's funny how when you kind of just like push things off and you don't listen to yourself, how you kind of like you build up all of these walls and barriers. And then when you say yes, the magic really happens. I think it's stunning, amazing. I love this so much. I want to ask about PitMad because is it still? Well, I saw. Which one did I just see? Is PitMad still going on? Like, are people still doing the pitch events on Twitter, X? These
Yeah.
sites.
I am no longer on Twitter X, so I couldn't say. I
Yeah.
know PitMad ended when Pitch Wars ended. They were like the same family. So that was like the last PitMad. So I wrote this book in August. I did PitMad in September. I had no knowledge of what publishing was like. And then I got the offer from that editor in like November. I was like
Wow.
to the point where I had just joined critique groups, and they were like, actually, maybe you need a little bit more time to figure this out. And I was going to pull it, and I was going to pull my queries and all of this stuff. And I got that offer come through. But it was like the very last PitMad is what it was. And then I know there was Latinx Pitch, and there's some other ones that have moved to, I think DV Pit is like in a Discord now.
Okay.
Latinx Pitch might be on Blue Sky. I don't know. I hope they exist because they're an amazing opportunity. And it was also a really good way to meet people in the community because I felt like I met a ton of kidlit writers and people just through that engaging on those pitches. So I hope they live on somewhere.
Mm.
For real, honestly. And I think like also like things like Las Musas, like there's
Mhm.
these things where you're building the community. So it's like you kind of at this right now, it feels like you have to search for them. Where
Right.
before it felt a little more accessible, maybe during COVID when everybody was online and we were all doing the things. But um, so from PitMad was a so I'm being nosy.
That's fine.
One of those things. So it was an editor that reached out to you. At
Yes.
that point, did you reach out to agents or like what was the process in that sort of a thing?
Yeah, so I was already querying. There was an overlap there. PitMad and Latinx Pitch were around the same time. So that was a PitMad pitch. I did Latinx Pitch that got some agent interest.
Cool.
So I met my agent through Latinx Pitch and then also had this offer. And so then I was able to like email everybody, like I got this offer of publication. That was for my first book, Abuela's Flower Shop, which is Beaming Books, so smaller publisher. And that's where my first agent came through, was through kind of all of that back and forth. And then she was the one who put Together We Remember on sub. And then since then, everything has kind of been through Make Me a World, Random House for that book. And then now I have a new agent, which was just cold querying. So I've done all the things, I feel like.
Mm,
Yeah, you're like an expert.
yeah.
I don't know.
Now I'm being nosy. What was your cold querying process like?
So that was my YA. So kind of thinking about like all of this community, you mentioned Las Musas. I was again like the dam broke. I was active in these spaces or trying to be. Got a Las Musas mentorship for a YA that I was working on, the one that I was previously just so stuck on. And then that book was the one that I went and I cold queried with when it was time to query again. So that was acquiring my editor, Ashley Riesinger, who's incredible. If you don't know her, she's so much fun through YA, but she also is obviously supporting me for my other works as well, which is great. But that was totally different. I mean, querying picture books versus querying like a completely different batch for the most part of agents, like re-pitching stories in a different way. It's similar and different. It was
Yeah. I
just as
can
scary
only
though.
imagine. Scary all the way around, no matter what you're doing. What is the difference? Because you mentioned you're not an artiste.
Mm-mm.
Like with picture books, how is that pitch? Like, how does this work? I want to know.
Yeah. Well, so in terms of querying, it's the same. You know, you write the query, you do just the text only story. So you'll write, I'm a picture book writer. I'm sure people who are illustrators will say, I'm an author illustrator. I'm just an illustrator. They'll have some form of dummy attached. In my case, it's just the one manuscript. Usually for picture books, they'll ask for, if there's interest, they'll ask for two or three more, or, another picture book and a couple pitches just to kind of see what else you have. So typically, if you're querying with picture books, you have a couple stories ready, as polished as can be. In terms of like where it goes from there, like the process of making a picture book is once it's acquired, like in my case, whether it was through a pitch or through regular sub, they're acquiring just the story. So the publisher is just buying the text. There's a period of developmental revisions. There's a period of copy edits, typical to like any process at that point. In the meantime, the publisher is looking for the illustrator, or in some cases, they may already have somebody in mind for the illustrator. ABUELO'S Flower Shop, they had the illustrator kind of signed already when we got into developmental edits. Together, we remember we worked on the whole story. I was done. My responsibility was done. They asked for my thoughts on illustrators. I sent them a list, and then they came back with Violeta, who's incredible. And I'm so happy that that's the result of that search. But they are responsible for all that. So there's the creative team that brings the person on and guides them. And I can see a couple of things here and there. At some point you see it all together, which is really cool, like the sketches without the color and like different versions of that. But yeah, so it's like two sides of the developmental process, I guess, and then you get the finished result. It's amazing to watch, to like see it come through.
Yes, I always love when they do those, like the time lapse of the illustration turning into
Right?
like the thing. I love that. Is there something that's like surprised you on this journey so far?
Surprised me. I mean, I think I didn't know anything about anything, so everything's been a surprise. I think coming from, so I worked in like operations, HR, like very process driven roles.
Mm.
Coming from like that process driven space where like everyone knows what everyone's doing and who's responsible for what and like who to ask for certain things. It's been a surprise, like how ill-defined things are in publishing. It'll be like, oh, you need to ask the person with the small answers, but you have to like navigate this boiling sea on an airboat and there's crocodiles and then they're going to ask you a riddle and that's not actually the person, there's another person, and then you finally get there and the person like left publishing. So then it's like, like that's the part that's just a surprise every time, I think, is not really knowing certain ways of functioning in the space. But you know.
That metaphor just like took my spirit, embodied me. It took me on the cruise with the
I never could have
crocodiles.
imagined. I never, yeah.
Yes, and even if we tried to imagine with the knowledge we have now, it would still be a different image.
Yeah. And I mean, that's considering that I have an incredible editor who's like so supportive, so available, like and in both books, like there's just that relationship has been really open and having that support, and it's still like I don't actually know how to function in this, that's the hard part, I think.
Yeah. Yes, it's the not knowing, and then you think you know, but then you don't really know.
Right. Yeah. You're like,
Just
oh,
so
I was so wrong. Okay.
so weird. It's such a weird space to navigate. And you really can't. Like you said, you're once you get to one place, you get the riddle, you might understand the riddle, and then like you said, then the person you're looking for is no longer there. So
Mhm.
real and so funny. I'm sure many author that are listening is like, yes, yes, I'm still traumatized. Yes. How can I want to go back to the YA book? Like, where are we at with that right now? Like, can you tell us what you're up to with that? Do you mind
Yeah.
telling us?
Yeah. I mean, it's been on sub a really long time, so I'm mostly just like, pretending it doesn't exist anymore. It's out there, and I hope someone loves it. It's the same, like you get really great feedback and you move on, and that's kind of where it is. So, working on other YAs in the meantime, obviously picture books, trying my hand at middle grade, just trying to stay sane, writing things. But yeah, it's out there.
That's real. We just
Fingers crossed.
stretch ourselves as someone on sub as well. As the months stretch out, you're just like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna just pretend it's not there and focus on other things because sanity. You know?
Yeah, I will say I told my agent just like monthly updates, and
Mm,
that's been really helpful because it's like if I don't hear anything all month until that last Monday, then I there's no news or I know it's good. You know what I mean? Like she could reach out if it was good news. So I don't have to think about it until I get that update, and then it's like, okay, here's the whatever. It's like nothing or this person rejected or whatever, and I just think about it that one day, and then the rest of the month I don't have to think about it anymore. That's been helpful.
I love that. Well, I want to know more about this beautiful book that I see behind you. Can you tell our listeners a bit about it?
Yeah, so Together We Remember, illustrated by me, or not illustrated, oh my gosh, here I am. Written by me, illustrated by
Guys,
Violeta. I wish, right? Violeta Encarnación, who's like, let me show you just some of the illustrations because they're like, she's unreal. I'll show you my favorite one. But it's a story about a father and a daughter, their first Father's Day without mommy, and they go on this imagination adventure to kind of bring some joy and hope back into to their lives. And it's that process of using memory and imagination to kind of harness the grief and the sadness and the loss and still make new stories and bring joy. I love this one. They're walking through a sandwich behind a waterfall. I don't
Oh,
oh
know if it's
wow.
like the glare, I can't tell, but it's just incredible. Her art style, it just blows me away every time I look at it. So I'm really blessed to have her as a book partner.
That's stunning. Like
Thank you.
I mean, that's legit art you could hang on the
Truly.
wall.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Is there anything like specific in mind that you were hoping readers would take to heart when they pick up this book, when parents pick up this book,
mm,
Yeah, I think there's always like this layer of nostalgia and remembering that obviously is going to be a little bit heavy and difficult and in the story the mom's absence is kind of vague, so there's a lot of ways that we lose people, and sometimes that doesn't have to be so severe as the person has died. It could be a number of things. So hopefully it relates to a lot of people in a lot of different stories. But I hope that the takeaway is to just remember the joy in those moments and the capability that you have as the dreamer, as the imaginer, as the creator to push that in the direction that's going to bring you the most happiness, so that that bittersweet memory is more sweet. Whatever it is that you're going to be creating is going to have that sense of joy, and that it's okay to daydream and imagine and harness your days and your time in that way.
mm. I love that so much. You talked a bit about like your inspiration into becoming a writer. Was there like a specific inspiration for this story in particular?
So it is a story about memory, and it came from that space of remembering. I found a picture of my dad and I playing like in the bathroom sink with, a bunch of toys in in the sink, just playing in the water. And so it starts off as that story of pretend play and imagination and father and daughter. And then it kind of, as you're drafting and you're layering in more meaning, it's, I was asking myself, and I have amazing critique partners who help kind of nurture this as well, of like, why are we pretending? What's behind that? Like, why is the father and daughter, like, why are they exploring it this way? And so it grows into the story of, well, in this case, it's because they're remembering mommy, or maybe in this case, it's because and another version of the story, the dad wants the child to have this incredible life that he never had. There's always the why behind the small moment, and so the inspiration just came from a quick photo, a quick memory, and then you draft a story and see what comes from it.
That's
Freaking love that.
yeah. Do you still have the photo?
I do. Yeah, I don't have it anywhere. Well, maybe I do. Let me see. I'll see if I can pull it up.
That's cool because like sometimes those old random snaps, right, wind up being like your most treasured photo.
Yeah. And I'm so little too. I feel like the memory is that I'm older, but I'm a
Oh,
baby. It's like a baby.
oh my gosh, the little hair bob is giving.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those, like, on TikTok right now. Have you seen the butterfly effect trend? Like, if my mom hadn't snapped that picture and I hadn't like found it 20 years later, like what would that, if this story would have ever happened, you know?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I think you need to post that picture with the sound, the Nicki Minaj song, the Bob song. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I'm like desperate to get that bob again too. I just don't have enough hair anymore. When I was little, it was like so much, I don't know. It was like so cute too. Now it's an impossible haircut to pull off.
You're gonna have to try it. I
I
think
guess.
you're gonna have to try it again. I'm obsessed with it. I love that. It's so interesting what you were saying. Like, why do we role play and like, like do like have these stories and these things that we talk about, and it's so powerful, really, because you get to like we've talked about this on the show before. How, like, we write stories and we put these characters through hell sometimes, but really it's like we're writing ourselves into this world and getting to explore and learn and become better through what our characters are experiencing. And I think so much that's what the power of storytelling is, and why it has been something that's happened for thousands and thousands of years, is just the art of the story. And like something about just your dad being there with you, I think it's so beautiful. What, Melanie?
So sorry, Smokey is killing me. Your
What's he
dog, Smokey, Angela's dog, has been running hot laps
Just like
around
going
the
back and
back,
forth.
and I thought he was done. But then, as you're making this beautiful monologue, he comes again, and he's just like, and I can hear his little paws on the floor this time. It's like clack, 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 clack. He kind of stopped, and he was like, "Dang it, you're still filming." And then off he went. He's just having his whole moment there behind.
No, the guy's been having a hard time. I left for the weekend and he's been thrown off. He hasn't been the same.
He's giving you the looks. He's kind of just like, okay, fine. When are you gonna go again? Whatever. Okay, record now. When is my belly gonna get rubbed? You know?
Yeah. No, he's bitter. He's bitter. It's okay
I'm
though.
amazed you have him. Like, I love my dog. She's my favorite, like, creature beyond my family. I can't have her in here when I'm on, like, because her click clacking is so loud. I would get so, I don't know how you do. But
I
I can see him, but I can't hear him. So
Okay, good. I was hoping you guys wouldn't be able to hear his ass, but apparently Melanie's got hawk ears.
he
I
wants to be
held my
known.
laughter in the first 5 times, and then
No,
this
you
time
didn't. I saw your face. I saw your face, Melanie.
I couldn't hold it in anymore. It was just getting funnier and funnier.
To kick him out of
Sorry.
here from
I'm
now on.
sorry
He's not
for that.
allowed.
Well, I want
Yes.
to ask, what's been the hardest part of this journey so far?
Um, I've I feel like it's all really been a like it has its challenges, but I think it's all really been a blessing. I think really the hardest part is, as a person whose brain is going 100 miles per hour all the time, and I'm also full time with my son who's in preschool, it's really just finding the time to like maintain a creative schedule and life, and like finding the time to write and plan and navigate that. So that's just like a personal thing. The problem is me, is figuring out when to do that. and like and giving myself grace as well. So
Mm.
that's been the challenge every time, is like, this is just the stage I'm in, and we're figuring it out as much as we can, and like navigating that. So I think that's been the hardest part, but also the best part, because the distractions are family and fun and playing pretend in real life. So no complaints there.
Yeah. No, it's the mental gymnastics we go through as writers is wild. It's nonstop. But what has been your favorite part or the best part of your journey so far?
The favorite part is absolutely getting to read in front of children, like taking the book to bookstores, taking the book to schools, seeing just how smart these kids are. Like the Abuela's Flower Shop is the one that I have the experience with right now of reading it out loud in front of children, and grown-ups, and whoever else. But seeing the connections that they make in a story that is also about grief and loss, not on purpose. I didn't mean to write two grief and loss books back to back, but I guess I'm just that kind of person. But seeing how they have that understanding, and they can read through the illustrations and the words and the story, and take away so much. That's been really interesting, and so I've enjoyed that, and having people come up and be like, "You're the first author I met," or like those little conversations after. The first book that was signed by an author, like that kind of thing, has just been such a joy. I really loved that.
That's really, really sweet. I want to ask though, like when it comes to marketing a picture book or a children's book,
Mm.
is it, I'd imagine it's got to be a little different from a young adult book, an adult book, where, your audience is right there on
Mhm.
TikTok or wherever. Like, so how do you feel yourself marketing your book, or do you leave it up to the publisher? What's
Yeah.
that like for you?
I leave it up to the publisher. I mean, I'm like, I'll do things like I'll put myself in rooms where hopefully people are interested in buying books, or like that word of mouth. They'll say that I read this or I met this person, and they'll take it somewhere. Bookstore events, school events, that kind of thing. But I feel like the marketing and the selling, I just don't have access to thousands of schools and thousands of libraries and the bookstores, and there's just no way that I could bridge that gap to make that connection to the actual buyer for these books. So I'm just doing what brings me joy in terms of getting out there and meeting people in my community, trying social media stuff, which again is like mostly author. It's mostly the people in our community who are the ones who are engaging with back and forth. So it's like more just friendship than it is
Hmm.
marketing, which is a good thing. I don't know how like indie picture book authors, like self-pub picture book authors would do that. And I don't know, like, if there are people in the trad space who are picture book authors, like if anyone can say definitively that something they're doing is helping in terms of marketing and getting the book out there. But I think the best thing that you can do is just find the spaces that you're comfortable in, and try not to overwhelm yourself with feeling like you're responsible for the success of where your book is going to end up, which is probably the same as YA and adult and every other age category. It's like you feel pressured to do the thing, but you don't actually have to do the thing. So
Yeah.
just
That's
enjoy
such good
yourself.
advice. Such good advice. And that's the thing, it has to be sustainable, and everybody's gifts are different. So if you try and mimic what someone else is doing, you're probably going to burn yourself out, or potentially. I shouldn't say probably. It might be great. But yeah, like if you're doing the stuff you love and whatever that is, whether it's like a school visit or reading in bookstores or online, whatever, then it's sustainable. So yes, I love that advice. I see we're down to like the
Oh my
last few
gosh.
minutes. So I'm going to ask you our favorite question, which is looking back at all you've accomplished, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself before starting out on this journey?
I think I would just give her a hug, honestly. Like, you are doing great. You're going to get to where you need to get to. I mean, I think you need to go through all the things to get to where you are now. And she obviously was doing something right because it worked out. So I think I would just give her a hug and say, like, everything's fine. Everything is going to be fine. It's not always going to be easy, but you can do it. So I think that would be the advice, the interaction, not so much advice.
That's beautiful. I freaking love that.
Because
Just
what
give
if
her
you
a
go
hug.
back and you give advice and then the thing doesn't happen? You don't know.
Oh,
Right.
she's
Yeah.
thought it out.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
watch too much Doctor Who. I have too much.
yeah, you don't want to set off the course of terrible events.
Exactly. Yeah.
No advice, just a hug.
Mm.
I think that's
Sweet
valid though,
soul.
honestly, because because really, like, you go through the things to get to the thing, and part of the journey, it's like learning. That's like part
Mhm.
of the best part of the journey, honestly, is like all of the things that's all building towards something. So it's like I kind of feel the same way. I don't think I'd want to change much. A hug would be great. You'll be fine would be great as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, I love that. We all wish we could hug our inner child.
Yes.
But we can, we can. We're hugging them right now. Well, what's next for you, my friend?
Well, the book comes out at time of this recording in 2 weeks, so focusing on launch, and I'm going places, which is exciting. I have book events in Florida, New York with Violeta, which is so exciting. I'll be in Pennsylvania for ALA, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for ALA. I have another book coming out, still unannounced, but that'll be next fall, hopefully. Also with Make Me a World. That one is a humor book. So we're moving past the grief into the funnier stories. And so I'm excited for that. And I'm still writing. I have, like I said, that YA on sub. I have a YA that I'm drafting, a middle grade that I'm drafting, and just trying to keep that well as full as possible, that creative well.
Mm.
Yes.
That was the
Hell
question I skipped over, worried we were gonna run out of time. But in our last minute, how do you feel to keep the well full?
I think it's just a habit. I think you have to force the habit a little bit. So
Mm.
just giving myself, like, kind of forcing myself into doing the creative thing, regardless of the result,
Mm.
somehow fills the well
yeah.
a little bit.
I love that. I freaking love that. Regardless of the result. Yes. Just do the damn thing. Beautiful.
I love it.
Well,
Well, we're down, like we're going to time out any minute, but thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your wise words with us. And we're so excited for you and wishing this book all the success.
Thank you. So much fun. Thank you so much for having me. I love chatting.
oh, we love this too. Thank you for joining us. This has been awesome.